And see the last question. The frequency of earthquakes appears to have increased in the Indian subcontinent. However, India's preparedness for mitigating their impact has significant gaps. Discuss various aspects. Give the framework. Yeah. Frequency of earthquakes appears to have increased in the Indian subcontinent. It's a statement. How India's preparedness for mitigating their impact has significant gaps. Discuss various aspects. So basically they are asking you you can just start by defining an earthquake in 1 or 2 lines, and then you can say that yes, there seems to be an increase in the intensity or frequency of earthquakes. Justify that with 1 or 2 examples, and then straight away come to the core demand of question, that is preparedness for mitigating their impact has significant gaps. Why preparedness has significant gaps? Okay, so why there are many gaps is there is lack of trained personnel at the state level and the central level. How to address an earthquake? Even today there are no proper training at the state level or the central level. Okay, and then for various buildings in the urban areas or the earthquake prone areas, the sanctions which are granted or the approvals granted are found to be not in line with the requirement of that particular area. For example, if a home has to be constructed in a seismic affected area, it has to have much more protocols to be followed when compared to a home being built in plain area. So when we have seen that the sanctions granted or the approvals granted are not in line with the requirement as per the protocols. Okay, and then the buildings in these areas should be earthquake resistant, but more often than not they are not earthquake resistant, and hence when these buildings collapse, obviously people get trapped in the debris and they die, because by the time the disaster management forces come and try to remove those debris, people are already suffocated or exhausted and they die. So that is one issue. Corruption, you can, instead of corruption, you can say red tape in the decision making. That is a much better statement to make. Instead of saying corruption, you can say delay in decision making with regard to the implementation of earthquake related protocols. So or else you can say there is no compliance to the proper protocols of the earthquake. Okay, all these are important things. And then you can also write throughout India, especially with regard to fighting disasters, not only earthquake, there are too many agencies involved and there are multiple agencies involved, and hence there is no proper coordination or there is no proper integrated approach with regard to these agencies, and hence we are found wanting when it comes to the response to the earthquakes or any disaster. Okay, and then discuss various aspects. So we have discussed various aspects and also given the India's preparedness for mitigating their impact has significant gaps. So we have given significant gaps, we have given the aspects, and then maybe you can end the answer by giving certain solutions. Okay, the solutions is that obviously there should be the zonation mapping of zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the zone 5, which is the most prone region for the earthquakes, should be properly made to follow the earthquake protocols with regard to the sustainable development instead of haphazard and random development. Okay, and then there should be proper awareness generation among the public with regard to the earthquakes, and there should be proper implementation of the national building code in the seismic zones which are highly prone to earthquakes, so that the people should construct the earthquake resistant buildings. Okay, and then you can have properly trained personnel across the India, especially under NDRF, who can take the approach to handle earthquakes with experience and skill. Hence, these are the solutions you can measure, you can write, and then what will be the conclusion? The conclusion will be the same as regard to the other disasters, that we should have proper awareness about the disaster, spread proper awareness, follow the Sendai framework, have a nodal agency or the nodal ministry for disaster management, and then educate people as to how to behave during the disasters. Yes, Prasad, if you want to further divide the gaps into technical gaps, technological gaps, legal gaps, economic gaps, and administrative gaps, yes. Administrative gaps will be that there is no coordination between various ministries and the local administration is not sufficiently empowered. Economic, technological can be, there is no proper technology to forecast the earthquake beforehand. Okay, even today, most of the earthquakes strike us very suddenly. Unlike, a cyclone or tsunami, we cannot so accurately determine the earthquake. Okay, so if you can categorize into then, so that is the next level of answer writing, where you have to practice the presentation part. So now first we are trying to look into the framework part. If you can get the framework right, content right, then whatever you innovate with regard to the presentation will add value to your answer. Clear? Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have to see the answer, right? So who has written this answer? Anyone who has written this answer and not discussed yesterday? No one has written this answer. Jitendra. So when I say no one, then Jitendra will come. Jitendra, there is slight improvement in your handwriting. Good. But lot of way, still a lot of distance to travel. Okay.
Yes, sir. I
Don't use this much space to justify the increase in earthquakes. Your points are fine, but try to come to the core demand of the question by the first half of the page. I always keep saying that. This is the core demand of the question. So this should come by year. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good points. So here again, you can still draw the map because you are mentioning the zonation. Just draw a map and inform the examiner that you know what are the vulnerable zones with regard to the earthquake.
Yes, sir. I will.
Conclusion is very normal conclusion you have written, Jitendra. Okay. It is not possible to predict earthquake exact date and time. So need to show the PMRR approach. This is a very casual conclusion. It can be much better as to what I discussed. Okay, give a vision oriented and solution oriented conclusion. Okay, especially for disaster.
Yes, sir. I'll make
really good. Okay, fine.